How well can we live? This is the question I've been asking myself for a long time. The M.A.R.S Life Intensive we just had here in Mexico, 5 days together, the beachfront, private beach property here in Mexico, gave us the opportunity to experiment and experience. And I had a list of things that I wanted to experience with the other men. How to make more money, how to feel better about yourself, how to have better relationship with your wife, different training experiences, progressing handstand push-ups, progressing juggling, swimming, lots of different things. I love to teach. I love to have different styles of training sessions and experiences. What we found was that the act of being together, it led always to that creative energy towards how can we work together better in business? What's the next move? What's the biggest change that you can make? And then also the training was we spontaneously played baseball. We spontaneously juggled for half an hour, different styles of juggling. People would walk past because there were a couple of resorts on the beach just up the road. They would be doing their normal thing, drinking cocktails, having beers, walking along the beach. To be honest, they look kind of bored. And when they look at us, we probably look completely crazy. But it was just like, how good is this? We're seeing sunsets. We're seeing the sun rise each morning. We're knocking down coconuts. Men are opening their first coconut with their bare hands. The thing that's hard to express here is that there's just a deep joy. There's a deep joy and a knowingness that this is what it's meant to be like. This is more of what it's meant to be like. Working away at things. We cleared the seaweed off the beach on the first morning together with the man who was looking after the area, looking after us for our stay, staying in a little place out the front. He was actually sleeping on the roof, and he's from a part of Chiapas near where I used to live, so I knew a little bit of his Mayan language, and it was nice to speak to him. A lot of the men had conversations with him, those who speak some level of Spanish. We also had Spanish-speaking intervals where, though at all levels, we were using the level of Spanish that we had and teaching and playing, and it's a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. Life can be so much better than what most are experiencing. How do I know? Because I used to be experiencing the other reality where it's like money pressure and feeling awkward socially and uncertain for who am I going to find to have children with and what is the future going to be like. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be where you're always building new things and creating new things. And the fun thing was I delivered the model of the 9 intelligences or 9 capacities to develop yourself in. If you had all the time, or if you lived in a time gone by, if you lived in a village, if you lived during the Renaissance, you probably would have had some musical ability, some mathematical ability, some artistic ability, some ability to build, some ability to train and be strong, athletic ability. You could learn systems for understanding your own personality and how to expand on that. You could you would experience ways through that to understand others. This is how it's meant to be. What if it is? Understanding the cycles of nature and farming. If we can get past being obsessed about how do we get enough money so that we can live, then we can live. If we can't, then we can't. Now, for some that might be, I just need to be able to make $3,000 a month. For some that might be, I need to make $20,000 a month. For some might be, I need to make $50,000 a month. It doesn't really matter. But getting beyond the obsession with that and being comfortable with knowing, well, yeah, that's going to happen. Therefore, I can develop myself. If you can develop your 9 capacities, then you're in a much stronger position for everything that you want to give to someone else. You're in a much stronger position to live in a village and to have conversations with others, to build a business, to be a mentor, whatever it is that you want to do, to be a parent, to be a husband. We experienced all of this. Men were opening up, taking on new challenges, experiencing that. There's no need to be shameful if it doesn't work. We're doing cartwheels and along the beach, and one of the guys could do round off into backflip. Guy was doing it for the first time in his life. He was hitting the tricks that he wanted to hit because he had a bit more open spirit and he was feeling the vibe of the environment. Andreas hit his first handstand push-up in the same session. But at the same time, there's guys who haven't done cartwheels ever or for decades, and it was fine as well. It's not an ego-fueled testosterone environment where in the past my environment was. It's a significant shift, and I've been playing around with this shift with my children and with my wife and with myself. I didn't know what it was going to be like when you put me in that environment again where I'm the leader and we need to have an experience. I love expansion and fuller expression. I'm still for that 100%. I think we got more expansion and fuller expression from the open environment that we created than we would have had I directed and controlled and made everything achievement and competition based. It's a big question. It's a big thing. I know if you're used to feeling like you're competitive, I would challenge you to consider maybe you're creative. Maybe it's not that you're competitive and you really need to win and that you would love the other person to be worse so that you can win. True competitive nature is wanting the other person to break their leg so that you become the winner, or that they slip and fall. Or if you're looking for the other person to be worse and you don't like that they're succeeding, then that's the competitive side, where if you are happy, you want them to play their best game and you want to do something better than they've done, but that's co-creating. You can't have an amazing boxing match against someone who can't box. You can't play table tennis and have a great game against someone who can't play. If you win 21-0 and the other person doesn't hit a ball back, is that fun? How many games do you want to play? So you're not really competitive. If you would love that, then okay, you're competitive. You just love winning. But if you want the other person to give you a really good challenge so that you can continue to experience what it is that you're capable of, and you get that dopamine rush of doing something that you hadn't done before, then Mars life is for you. I would love for everyone to be able to experience this. There was an event in Australia on the same weekend. We ended up having 6 days. I think they had 2 days. But they said it was a similar vibe, similar experience. There's an openness in this group and a willingness to experience something new. And it's okay to not be great at something, to not be the best. If you're able to learn and to open yourself up to the conversation, then you can progress. And having that within a group of men who didn't really know each other before, maybe they had 1 or 2 calls with each other. That's part of the uncommon system, is to connect with other brothers and learn their story and see where you can add value to each other, but also learn to tell your story, learn to tell your mission. Until you're super busy with lots of clients, you should practice on other people who are willing to speak to you and hear what you have to say. It was very, very powerful for me as well to get feedback on where men in the network would like to see me go, and the overall project of uncommon success, filling the villages and building new villages, and how they see their lives 4 years from now, 12 years from now, what it's going to mean for their family to have this network mature and be able to go to places all around the world where everyone is doing well and has capacity. So this is the big vision. Build capacities, be good at some stuff, and be able to teach that, and then turn that into a higher level of freedom. So people are talking about the time, money, geographical freedom. These are the 3 things that people are talking about. Well, what about the freedom of having brothers who are wealthy and successful? What freedom does that give you? If they've got a big mailing list and they've got great products and they've got villages and they've got houses, and they've got private jets and they're your friends, well, that brings another level of freedom, doesn't it? So that's another type of freedom. We discussed 12 types of freedom that could be worth exploring, and everyone shared and thought about for themselves what types of freedom they would like to experience. Another would be emotional, and this is something that we didn't really talk about at other events, but how much joy can you experience? You can be doing the same thing as someone else, but what's going on internally, the level of consciousness, the level of joy. One person can be experiencing shame, thinking, I'm not very good at this. I'm letting this other person down with my juggling or my handstands or how many push-ups I can do. I'm experiencing shame. Very low level of consciousness according to the David Hawkins scale of consciousness, which is one of the models of psychology that we use in Uncommon Success. I think it's one of 8 or 9 that we've been introduced to through money mentor Paul Council, who's presenting now once a month. You can be experiencing shame while you're doing that exercise, or you can be experiencing bliss, joy. We were discussing that, but not just discussing it, we were playing into it, and there were some really profound experiences of, okay, I know how to experience more joy with this. That is revolutionary. That is something that can have an extreme impact on health, on success, on relationships, on how your children are going to grow up. So I've never had that before at a workshop where I was able to cultivate that sort of openness and that sort of environment. I am excited for men to progress in their capacities. So there's achievement and then there's fulfillment. I want more achievement. I want the men that are coming to have more money, to speak more languages, to be physically better than this group, and for myself as well. That is okay. That achievement side should be there. Not that I want others to get worse so that I can be the best, but so that we can all push to another level when we decide to speak Spanish, or others are good at teaching languages so that they can teach some basics in their language. What if you were able to have a foundational conversation in 10 different languages? What if it was only going to take you an hour or two to be able to learn some simple phrases and some numbers and things that you could break ice in various languages? Does that help people to see you as a genius? Does that open doors for the rest of your life? Does it help you to be more playful? I think it does. And then we've got this on so many levels, so many icebreakers, so many things to give. And you do start to feel like you're from Mars. I meet men at the playground here nearby when I'm doing some chin-ups, doing some juggling handstands. And it already seems a bit weird the way that I train, right? Because no one in the world is really training like this. But then when I'm open to just teach them and have fun with them and give them some balls, or the other day I gave a guy limes that I'd taken there to juggle, and I gave him the limes to take home with him. But I taught him to juggle and I gave him a little bodyweight circuit. He's a chubby little Mexican guy. And you can see he's lit up. He's lit up with the possibility of what his future can be. And that's what happened for us at Mars Life #1, the first of many. I look forward to events in Europe and Australasia later in the year. Could be Bali, definitely Vanuatu, probably something in Australia. Really looking forward to doing more of these. The thing that I should also mention is that my children were a huge part of it. Manu got his first handstand push-ups. He's 7 years old. They're like fast reps, but it's even better to be able to do them fast. And he was able to progress a lot within those 5 days. He had so much fun paddling the canoe and wrestling, jumping up on the guy's shoulders. And they were facilitators of the joy that I wanted us to experience and to cultivate and to talk about. It's easier sometimes to jump into that with children and open the coconut for them than it is to do it for just a group of men. So they brought a special energy to that, and some of the men had discussions with my wife about what it's like to travel the world with 3 young children, and how it is to have our children with us all the time. And I love that we were able to share that whole family experience, because that is the big goal, is that we build beautiful families. And one of the other freedoms out of those 12, along with the emotional that I was talking about, and the time, money, geographical, is the generational freedom. So the fraternal freedom as well is one that I mentioned. The generational freedom is the ability to create momentum where multiple generations are able to experience this type of life together. So it is about the family. It is about the wife, the grandparents, and the children, and then setting up foundations for the experiences that grandchildren are going to have. So this was Mexico 2024. By far the best event that I've run in terms of the energy and the openness and the excited position for the future. I look forward to continuing to expand what's possible within these events, and everyone will be unique in its own. My style is not to repeat an event. I look forward to the next one, and if you're interested in getting along, there'll be a link down below where you can register your interest, and you'll know when the event is on. If it's not full with pro players and men who are in the Uncommon Money Club with Paul, then we'll make it available. This one filled up within a few days of putting the message out, and it was well worth it. If I can help you with something, if you would like to link up, you can also jump through that link and we can find a way to have a conversation together. If you've got a big vision for the future and just need a little bit of support with it, like we all do, then we can do that as well. Speak soon.